Okie dokie, so we'll do another one of these quick videos. Maybe it will be quick, maybe not. Yeah, first thing I open TikTok, I see pictures of hookers, probably even AI, who knows. Uh, Garbage, man, garbage. I will say this though, once you take the sexual away, you appreciate women fully. Like, you stop just looking at a certain body part, you'll still look, but you'll do it like a woman does. You'll appreciate it in a beautiful, pseudo emotional kind of sense. And then, if you have the perfect blend of masculine and feminine, you move on. If you completely remove your masculine, well, then it's just a soulmates kind of thing. And, I want to talk about this. Like, you should ignore the garbage spread by not just mainstream media in general, fitness media, but mainstream self-help experts, because most of them didn't do. They don't even know what they did to get big. They just chased clout, got it, and they're fake, so they lost it. And then you have all these so-called red pill and masculinity guys on Twitter and stuff. Anything you see, especially these days on Twitter, is fucking fake. And it's all manipulated, clicks, algorithms, people are all clout chasing even more desperately. And it's like, it's not real. A lot of these guys, red pill, the way it's practiced these days is total bullshit. It's complete cope, because they go home and jerk off to porn. They just never tell anyone, and then they pretend they never did it. It doesn't work that way. They fantasize about women all the time, and then they don't get them, and they get frustrated, and then they complain about them. That's not how it works. A lot of these these masculinity experts are also completely off target. One of the pieces of advice I saw, I spoke to an Indian girl. I'm speaking like her. Indians say feet, they won't say feet, and I was about to say advices. Language is interesting, huh? And the British use it the best. The pronunciations, and it's completely equal and opposite. And then America made it a lot more logical. But still, English is one of those languages with so many different origins and so many different deals. It's the British ruled the world, so you have words from Hindi and English, which are now considered English, French, and probably even German. Well, not German, but probably even, Italian, I should say. But anyway, Dr. Lecter, he loves Italy. A nice Chianti. A nice Chianti, I guess. But I say Chianti. Anyway, so this masculinity guy, he was like, avoid anyone that smiles without moving their eyes. Now, hey, it's not about the 1,000-yard aggressive stare, which, that's different. The 1,000-yard aggressive stare without moving, but it's about the psycho stare. Like I said yesterday, it's not about physical violence all the time. You have to be like a tiger, and you have to be in the middle. Oops, fucking thing just almost crashed. You have to be in the middle as a man. I'm not saying you have to be an eunuch, but that energy has to be there, in the middle, psychotic energy. And that is what, like, I'm looking at you right now. So, okay, the second smile, my eyes move. So yeah, he means if it's genuine, and, but I'm sure I could train myself to just continually stare, and I just did it, So you have to ignore a lot of this garbage, do what actually works for you. You have to find it. Then you have another piece of advice, so-called advice. wake up every morning and say, it's going to be a wonderful day. Now, most affirmations are garbage anyway because they focus on am. So if you're not rich, you'll be told, I just repeat, I am rich 109 times. Wear these beads, chains, drive everybody around you crazy with, your devotional hymns, and which you can hear 3 floors down, and ding, 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 like those bells and like cowbells. I call them cowbells. Because they're practiced in a country which considers the cow holy, but that cow roams on the road eating garbage. Make sense. While people stand like this in the temples and they worship pictures of that cow. Anyway, that said, India, man, I mean, quite literally, I've been there, but I would rather, even though Pakistan and Bangladesh are not as, are even worse. I wouldn't say India is like fourth world, but probably Pakistan and Bangladesh are too. Sri Lanka isn't. Sri Lanka is actually pretty good in many aspects. I've been there once, but at least Pakistan is real. There's no hypocrisy. And I understand a lot of the women, even in Pakistan, are very feminist, but it's not like in India. At least their religion is Islam. I mean, I'm a Christian, but Islam is the most logical religion out there. Anyway, so the advice given was wake up every morning and say, it's a glorious day. Now you could wake up until the cows come home, and that's forcing it, even if you're saying it's going to be, so you're using the right words, but most people wake up feeling like shit, and you'll keep repeating that to yourself and getting more frustrated in that it didn't work because you're actually repelling it now. If you're like me, I literally wake up, I have these vivid fucking dreams. I wake up every morning, oh, it's just gonna be awesome. I just feel that. I feel it every morning. Then I may say it, I may not say it, I may not even think it. But as the day progresses so well, like the Amazon lady's day, like she told me and like you heard in the last video, talking to me, her day goes well. Talking to me, everyone's day goes well, which is why I have to be careful not to talk to too many people because they all want your energy. I talk to the right sorts and they all tell me that. And so when my own day goes so swimmingly well, I often think back and I had that feeling in the morning. It's about the feeling, and you can only get that feeling by truly not giving a fuck, and by truly getting your body into the most natural states possible, and mentally and physically. Mental is very important, not giving a F. It's a very deep concept because most people say they don't care, but they do care. And then they say, well, we have to care about this, have to. There's no have to, or, either you do it or you don't. Then you have another piece of rather interesting advice, which I heard from another one of these influencers. I actually like the guy, so I'm not going to. But it was a version of, I want to see how. Let's see, what was he saying? And basically a version of, I want to see how much the universe will bless me today, and how much more abundance will the universe bless me with today. That is actually a right way to do it. Because when you say you're abundant, you force yourself to think that you are. So that is a smart way. It was Andrew Tate who said a version of that, so I'll tell you. Credit where it's due. That is a very smart way to do it. But the most basic and simple way to do it is to feel excellent and awesome when you wake up. That is the best way. You feel it's just going to be a glorious day, and the more you feel that, every day you feel it, and it becomes embedded in your subconscious mind, and you don't even have to say it. You just wake up and spring out of bed like that, and and pure physical fitness will not get you there. You have to have the vibe, you have to be in the middle, you have to do the right things. And that's it. That's it. Yeah. Remember, it's the in the middle guys, and no, you don't need to be an eunuch that get them all. And since we're on this video, I figured I'd give you a bit of a thing about, like, I've been talking about eunuchs and all this, in the middle. I'm referring to energy. I'm not referring to you becoming trans or tranny and having to chop your balls off, unless you want to. That's up to you. But it's that energy. In ancient times, these guys or girls, I don't even know how to refer to them, they used to roam around in countries like India, and they'll openly touch you as a guy or a girl. Well, the women they don't touch, so I'm assuming they're mostly men with balls chopped off. Although I don't know, turned out if you had a baby born to you that was a eunuch, they would come and forcibly take it, and the family would be stigmatized. And I can't imagine that, man. If I had a kid and it was born that way, I'd shoot somebody. Literally, all these pride rallies, and we were coming for your kids. You're not. No matter how that kid is born, that's not that kid's fault. So, these guys, or girls or whatever, they, in ancient cultures in Asia, like China and India, let's just, and probably Thailand, and, but it all came from India in the ancient times. And, of course, modern day India is polar opposite, utter shit shit, but they were highly respected, a lot of them. They were courtesans, they were learned people, they were highly respected people, and maharajas and kings and queens would seek their advice. And the lower level ones were kept to guard the harems, because they couldn't have sex. Now, I'm not saying all of them were, there's always, because some of them were equally frustrated as the red pill guys, because they had no balls, but they had the mindset, and they wanted to do it, but they couldn't. Some chopped their balls off because of excess sex drive, then thought. There's all kinds of stories. I don't really know how, if it's, sometimes you're born that way. That's a biological thing, just like you're born with some other deficiency. But in a lot of countries, apparently it was voluntary. Sometimes they stole babies and forced them into it, and there's all kinds of stories. I don't know that. I'm talking about the energy, okay? And I'm talking about very practical things that are applicable to you today as a man. Even women, they have that in-the-middle energy that attracts a lot more. So a woman that does extreme amounts of physical labor, actually, despite her outward masculine demeanor and raw aggression, is actually even more submissive. It's all polar opposites, yin and yang. The Chinese have that concept. It just means equal and opposite. And, not really equal and opposite. Yin and yang is, if there is light, there is dark. If there is dark, for light to exist, there must be dark. For dark to exist, there must be light. Something like that. So, kind of like equal and opposite. These guys were highly respected, It wasn't the... Of course, that was ancient India, China, where, you had the Kama Sutra, you had all these things, and, sexuality wasn't taboo like it is today, at least male sexuality, which really drives the world. Female sexuality nurtures the world. Male sexuality drives the world. And now that they've taken that away, and they've literally chopped your balls off, it's, with kids being forced to change their genders and... yeah, everything. So they ruined society and that. But, and some of these guys had extreme amounts of physical strength and real-world physical strength. So, and a lot of these guys had women around them, because women are attracted to good energy and in-the-middle positivity, psycho type of energy. And they had that by default. And they were worshipped, and they were, now, so in the modern day world, the reason I'm giving you this brief history is because I keep talking about in the middle. In the modern day world, you don't have to chop your balls off as a man to get there. You simply have to do what I keep telling you. Remove the sexual mentally. And it's a long process, and everybody has their own ways of doing it. I can teach you how to do it, but you have to be willing to open your mind, and you have to be willing to acknowledge what you really do between closed doors. It's that simple. I know most of you, you watch these videos and then you look at that girl and, oh, she's so hot and I gotta go talk to her. And it's like, there's nothing wrong with that. But if you're trying to remove that, it's a goal-oriented thing. If you're trying to remove your sexuality, the chase part of your sex drive, which your sex drive will still remain. It'll amplify, it'll magnify it once you stop giving a fuck about and you just be natural. There's no games. There's, you have to remove the sexual. By that I mean most guys chase sex so much and they obsess about it so much that they never get it. In a guy like me, a big porn star who doesn't even want to do it 3 times. I get, all this. That's the law of the universe, obviously, but you have to get that in the middle energy, you have to remove the sexual. That is my entire point, You have to be interesting. If you're a boring old fart who maybe can get it up, maybe can't, but his energy is like, that may not fully attract her that much. It's the in-the-middle sorts that in the BDSM world, you call it switch. Like you turn it on and off. You switch equal and opposite. And I wouldn't classify myself as anything like that, but I'm talking energy-wise. So that you need to have that energy. People will look at you, and with me, they call me, they're like, I mentioned one of the women slaves actually called me, referred to me as if in the feminine, right out there in public. It was done on autopilot. She didn't even think about it because of the vibe. Others tell me, just like a little baby, you're a young man, and all these, and, I feel excellent after talking to you, and I love talking because, the positive vibe and all that. You motivate me to train. So all of this, like Mark says, I'm an excellent motivator, and, So that's it, really. Avoid the garbage out there. You have to really feel it. Feelings are really how it operates. Ask any woman, she'll tell you. Now, in certain schools, Claude Bristol's book, The Magic of Believing, he was like, if you keep repeating something, ultimately, you might force your mind to accept that reality. However, that has some elements of truth to it, but it's like an elastic band. You are trying to force it, and eventually it'll either snap or snap back. And he didn't really mean it that way. He was like, if you're going to have an argument with, if let's say let's say there's guy A, guy B, they had an argument, and both of them now dislike each other. But guy A goes to meet guy B, and he's been thinking all day, oh no, there'll be no problem, and then there wasn't. That was, like a test case like that. But what he didn't explain, and a lot of these, like Napoleon Hill about sexual transmutation, didn't really explain it that well. What he didn't explain is that you yourself have to be in the ideal state first. Then you can keep repeating all that, but you don't need to. If you're in that ideal state mentally, if you're feeling it's going to be a glorious day, you're feeling good things, will happen. That affirmation, though, from Tate, which I told you, I want to see how much the universe can bless me today. Search it online. You'll probably find it. That sort of thing forces you, is different from forcing like that. that expands the box. It forces you to think you already are blessed, which you are. You're breathing, you're listening, you can move your hands. Most people don't count their blessings. Uh, so that kind of thing. So you're not. Let me just finish this. You're not feeling good, okay? But you keep saying it's going to be a great day. It's going to be, but that is forcing like this because you're not feeling good. But you're not feeling good. But you're saying repeatedly, I want to see how much more the universe can bless me with abundance. Now it can be an abundance of good and bad, and good is bad, bad is good, like written about in Emerson's laws of compensation. It's always better. The bad is actually good. And especially in today's world, what's considered bad is actually very good. Because you get the bad out of the way and then only good remains, essentially. He said it in far more flowery language than I could ever hope to, even though I'm such an eloquent guy or such an eloquent girl. I don't know, since so many girls seem to giggle about that. I'm a beautiful anything. I make a beautiful girl. Like on the other business, Megan did some pictures of me as a girl. It was beautiful. And at the age of 19, a lady was like, oh, your bushy eyebrows. I would love to trim those all day. I've always had those comments. My last slave, I want to give you a pedicure. So, and, you have these big elephant-like beautiful feet, soft feet. And one day she accidentally, kind of injured it with a ladder or something without meaning to. And he should have seen, oh my God, I'm so sorry, this, that. I'm like, relax, honey. It's just, relax, bitch. I don't know what I told her. I'm a warrior, soldier. I don't give a shit, And it wasn't, she didn't mean to. And it was a kind of apology, which when a woman appreciates something is so beautiful, wasn't necessarily any sex involved again. This is why I'm so good with women, because I've taken the sex away a long time ago. And of course, you don't give it to them because they want it. And so that makes them chase them and so-called hate you and call you gay and all these other, or even a gigolo and all these other. I've been called every name under the sun, dog. I've been called every name under the sun. But so that kind of affirmation is, I want to see how much more the universe can bless me, okay? So you're feeling terrible, and so maybe it'll bless you with a lot of more bad. Maybe it'll bless you with a lot of more good. But if it blesses you with good, then good. You just be prepared for the bad around the corner. And if it blesses you with more bad, that means your good is coming. In most cases, that forces you to expand the box that you think in, that kind of affirmation. Not that you need anything, again, it's feelings, but to get there, and so that expands the box, because then you're forced to think that you are already blessed, which, like I said before, you are. And then you expand that box, and you consciously or subconsciously, and first it happens in the conscious, then it moves through. You look around you, you say, hey, I'm just giving you an example. I got this cup of coffee, I'm breathing, I can move, I can walk down the road, I can smell flowers, whatever it is. And you're grateful. Most people aren't grateful for the smallest things, which actually matter. Think about it. You could have been born as an actual slave in the era of slavery. I use the term all the time for my slaves, but they aren't born in that era. You could have been killed in war. You could have, been gassed, or I don't know, a bus could have run over you yesterday. People aren't grateful for those things. So that kind of affirmation is good. The wrong kind of affirmation will instantly drive you in the opposite direction. So you're feeling terrible, but you keep saying, it's going to be a great day. At a certain point, it's going to be a terrible day. And it's very simple to understand, because that elastic band will break, or it'll just snap back to its original position, so now it's like this and like this. Either it snaps or then it's like this. Simple concept. Elastic band thing, Psycho-Cybernetics, a great book by Dr. Maltz. Maxwell Maltz covers it. Uh, all of these books miss the in the middle part, the feeling part. And this is what I cover on my sexuality website in such excruciatingly great detail. So you should go there, you should buy the products. And fitness wise, of course, most of the guys into fitness are cocks that like feet. I mean, it's that simple. Let's admit it. They just don't want to admit it. Now, I mean, because they're scared of what people will think. You know, oh my God, what if my employer finds out? What if my family finds out? Who cares? Stop giving a fuck. There was actually a book written about it, Never Give a Fuck or something, and it marked somebody, and it turned out to be a very successful book. I think the ebook, you can get it for $1.99 on Amazon or something. And it probably had that feeling part. I'm not sure. I haven't read it, and I don't plan to. That's another thing I've been thinking about. I'll just cover it as we end this video. The reading thing. I used to be a huge reader. These days, I don't want to read. I find most books to be mystery books, everything I liked before. I find it to be so boring that I just don't want to read. And it's not TikTok brain or anything for me, obviously, as you can tell. It's because my own life has become so fucking interesting that I don't need those books. The only books I'll still look at sometimes are digital copies of, Napoleon Hill, Claude Bristol. But these days I don't even need to look at that. Maybe because I've looked at it so many times. Or maybe, I don't know, I'm trying to imagine if I had Outwitting the Devil in my hands. Because we've gotten so unused to reading paperbacks, right? Nobody reads them. I mean, people buy them, but they sit around and nobody really reads them. And I guess people do still read them. I don't know. But I mean, for me, I can scan and read with the same degree of ferocity and precision. So, I guess I don't know, because I'm always doing something, and it's just quicker to do it on the computer because then you can get back to what you're doing. So it's one of those things. But it's an interesting thought that came to mind. And on that note, I'll let you be. But please avoid the so-called motivational garbage that most people will spread. All the mainstream motivation. It ain't gonna work. And if it did really work, society, like this woman I was talking to, the one that, all women are constantly whining and yelling and complaining and, give them a solution, they won't do it. Oh, I'm so tired, I stand all day. We did that in the video and, simple stretching would solve it, but she doesn't want to do it. Oh, I need a massage, I need this, I need that. That's great if you want it. But anyway, we covered that. So she made this comment, nobody's happy today. I'm like, were they ever in today's day and age? And I'm like, were they ever fucking happy? They were always hypocrites. There was always, and it's good if you're not. I mean, I want to be satisfied. I don't want to be happy. That's the feminine emotion. I'm either satisfied or I'm not. And so if all this mainstream motivation and all these YouTube videos and all this actually worked, you wouldn't see everybody around saying we're not happy. And, the world in this chaotic mess that it's people that make up the world. Let's be honest. It's not, people say, oh, the government, this, that, but then the governments are people too. Somebody puts them there, even at a certain level in China and Russia, somebody, and in China actually, the CPC, appoints a general secretary. China doesn't technically have a president. The CPC appoints the general secretary. That's why Deng Xiaoping, who is really the architect behind China today, he would never call himself the leader or anything. He would be like the general secretary, But that's that for now. And avoid the garbage. See y'all later.